Hey everyone, another Wednesday, another live stream. What's up? I hope you're all doing well. If you're watching this on replay, just a reminder that usually the first part of this is everyone jumping in and getting set up. So feel free to skip ahead 2 or 5 minutes, and yeah, we'll get things happening in a minute. We do have the lead up to the Carnival of Chaos coming up August 12th, which we will get into in a second. We'll get and we'll be on our way. Angel, thank you for joining. I'm Sean Cav. What's up, man? Thank you for joining. How are you? We have to get you back on here soon. Ben Cologne, thank you for joining. Cool. I appreciate that you popping in and saying hi, Sean. Let's see here. Get the fellers on. Do it. Let the English see you do it. All right. Give me one sec. We're having a little trouble getting the Godfathers in here. So anyway, August 12th, we got coming up Carnival of Chaos. We're going to be playing with a whole bunch of bands. And, yeah, it'll be good times. Rosie and Dave were on last week, and we got them on there. And we'll get this going here. Let's see here. Why is this always such a issue? Hey, there we go.
Awesome.
Sometimes it takes a little bit. Usually I'm like, if you're watching this on replay, first 5 minutes, skip ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. I'm over 40, so I assumed it was
Same here.
a couple minutes.
No worries. All
Thanks
right.
for having us, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, no problem. Are the other guys jumping on, or is it just?
I saw that Justin joined. He's probably trying to figure out how to get on video.
Okay. What's his handle?
Papa Bear.
Got it.
And then that D_Gibson. That's Dave.
Dave, what's up? Thanks for jumping in. We'll get you on in a second too. And then we'll get rolling.
Here he is.
There he is.
Hey.
And I'm over 50, so I got you guys beat.
That's why it took you longer.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Technology. Yeah.
Half of this,
right.
where'd he go?
Half the battle?
Half the battle. Half of this live stream, Drew and I making fun of each other.
KP Mar, thank you for joining. All right, we got everyone. Yeah. Awesome. I got to say, I love that you guys have all jumped in on different phones too, because that really helps keep everything moving forward too. All right, it looks like he froze, so we'll just get him to jump back in, and then we'll keep things moving. I'll roll something off the top, and then we can get going.
Cool.
Hold on one second.
I can't believe I let you beat me, Justin. Gee.
You're the
Are you guys competitive?
We only in a teasing way.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in a very fun way.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just get into it here and we'll get started. All right. Hello and welcome to the Bellwether Ritual live stream where we discuss music, the local Lehigh Valley, PA scene, bands, social media, and more. Today is Wednesday, August 2nd. Already. Happy summer. I hope everything's going well for everyone. My name is Mike. I'm the vocalist guitarist of Bellwether Ritual, and I hope you had a good week. We have some news brewing in the live stream realm, which we're excited to talk about, but can't quite yet. So hopefully we'll have some news maybe in a week or two, and we're going to look to expand the live stream. It's going to be a lot of fun. Today is the 5th stream in the lead up to the Carnival of Chaos 3 presented by Chaos Guitars, August 12th in Schnecksville. And my guests tonight are part of that as well. Tonight we have Drew, Justin, and Dave of Supersonic Godfathers. They are an Allentown-based band playing a mix of covers and originals. They performed at Mayfair, Coca-Cola Park for the Iron Pigs. and they will be taking a part in COC3. So we'll talk about all that and more. Guys, welcome to the stream. How are you doing tonight?
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I like the outside
Wonderful.
shot too. It's a nice changing it up here.
Yeah, I have a dog who freaks out anytime she knows that I'm home
That you're
and I'm in the house
live streaming,
and I'm not spending time with her. So I'm like, instead of you guys listening to a dog barking the entire night, I figured I would go outside.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
He also has a wife that would prefer he stay outside most of the time.
That's also very true.
You're in the doghouse. All right. Is there anything you guys want to plug right off? I know COC3 obviously is something we want to talk about. Is there anything else you want to plug right off the top? Any more shows, singles, anything like that?
I'm always the last one to ask.
Drew knows our schedule the best. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you go to our Instagram page, we just updated our schedule. I think we made a post maybe like a month ago. It lists all the shows we have. I know upcoming, we're going to be playing at the Promenade. We're going to be playing at Coca-Cola Park. High Jinks Brewery.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I love that place.
West Coastville Fire Company.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be playing at the Americas Hotel again in November. Mm-hmm. Probably, honestly, one of the best venues acoustically that we've played at.
Yeah. All right. That was actually
old building, a lot of wood. It's an open, it's like a cathedral ceiling type setup. Sounds amazing. We'll be playing at the St. Luke's Night of Heroes. That's at, what is that, Steel Stacks, Justin?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously, Carnival of Chaos, August 12th. Yeah. We're incredibly excited to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, me too. How did how'd you all get involved with Dave and Rose?
So Bill, who's not on, our guitar player, I asked him for a place that I had an old bass I needed fixed up, and he hooked me up with Chaos Guitars, and you meet Dave and Rosie, and you can't help but fall in love with them. So
right. It's
that's
like instant friends.
I keep sending him people, and he came to see us play in Mayfair once, which was really kind of him, and we've just had a good relationship. He's just an easy guy to get along with, and does great work. So it's easy to send people to him, and they're always happy. And then you go to, I'm sure, have you ever been to his place where he does all the work?
Yeah, man. And we got the tour. Maybe like we went to go throw cornhole against them. I think they cheated, but we got a chance to go check out the den guitar layer that he's got. It's pretty awesome, man. So got to play a whole bunch of stuff I've never played before, and just kind of chat him up on all things guitar, which right up my alley.
Yeah,
so yeah, it was great.
It was just a great guy.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yep, for sure. And happy to be a part of something like he always too really stresses. I feel like it was kind of lost on me for a lot of my early band years, and only recently it's kind of embarrassing, but he always stresses community and helping each other out and all that stuff. It really is what makes everything work.
I'm wearing his shirt.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Dig that. Yeah. All right. So usually I'd start off with a couple of questions off the top. Are you guys from the area originally, or did you move in from elsewhere? How does that work?
Well, Justin, I mean, you can talk about how you're a transplant later, but no, I mean, I was born in Allentown. I was raised in Orfield. Actually, the house that I grew up in is probably 3 minutes away from where Dave's shop is. So
cool.
I'm familiar with the area. I don't know, Dave, how about you? Where are you from? I don't know anything about you, Dave.
I'm the outsider of the group. I live up in Lehigh area, so I'm kind of the hick of the band, so to speak. Yeah. Grew up not far away, a little further north in Summit Hill, which is kind of in coal country. I don't know how familiar you are with the northern tier up here.
I did my internship way back when up in Lehigh area, so relatively familiar with that, and yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I'm the traveler of the band, but.
All right, cool.
And I'm from New York. I grew up in New York. Came to the Bethlehem area in 2004.
Okay.
Been here ever since.
Very cool. Yeah. What brought you in? Is there anything in particular or job?
Job. My family's from Doylestown, so it was sort of, you know, in the middle. It was close enough for her and far enough away from New York for me. So it worked. It worked. It worked out.
Very cool. And actually, I'm interested to hear. I was born and raised in Bethlehem, moved down to Philadelphia for 7 years or so, and then moved back. As someone who's moved in from outside back in 2004, have you seen kind of a change happening?
Oh yeah.
Obviously, the pandemic has really made a big impact on the area, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, when I live in Center Valley, so just not far from the promenade, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, there when I came here, if you wanted to do any shopping, you'd have to go all the way up to the mall on MacArthur, and so you know, there's been a lot of growth that way, and we all are seeing the ridiculous amount of warehouses coming in,
Whew, yeah.
you know, which I'm not a big fan of, but honestly, where I live now, you know, it just reminds me of where I grew up in the suburb of New York City, Rockland County, if it means near the Tappan Zee Bridge,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a lot. Like when I came here in 2004, it was a lot like that was when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I see the same changes happening, just a lot of growth.
Yeah, yeah.
Good and bad.
Jay, yeah, for sure. Jay George 92, thank you for joining. Where was I going to go with that one? Oh, I kind of judge the music scene. Well, one way I judge like the health of the music scene is by the number of Craigslist posts I see like regularly too. I think that's a pretty accurate way, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever other platforms there are for that sort of thing. And I definitely have seen it pick up a lot more. There's just like consistently people posting in there. I went to a great networking event. Shout out to Ice House in Bethlehem. Have you guys ever been there or played there?
I've been there. I've never played.
Yeah, we
Oh,
never played.
yeah, we haven't either, but I've seen a couple great shows there, and they had a great musicians networking event on Sunday,
Oh, wow.
and I think they're going to put more on because it was very well received and attended. So
That'd
awesome
be
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny you
Um,
said that about the Craigslist thing, because when I travel, I always, whether I am, I bring it up and see what's going on. Like, and it's actually, you're actually absolutely right. It's a healthy scene around here.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I think it's kind of like ebbed and flowed a little bit, and obviously the pandemic, I think obviously didn't help initially, but for me personally, I was kind of out of the game for a good stretch of time, and our guitar player was too, about 10 years, and then the sitting around the house with nothing to do kind of brought up, why don't I grab guitar again and get back into it? So do you guys have similar experiences in that way?
Well, I'm trying to think what we got together
Right before.
right before COVID. I mean, they, Dave and Bill and Justin were in a band with a different singer and guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to go different ways. I think my wife actually volunteered me to sing with you guys.
That's true. Yes.
I think
Yeah.
Justin, I think, had texted me and been like, "Oh, when do you want to get together to practice? To whatever." And I'm like, "I don't know." And then I asked Wendy, and Wendy was like, "That's my wife." Wendy was like, "Oh yeah, I told them that you can sing, so you can go play with them." I'm like, "Okay, fine, whatever." But I think that was probably a couple months before COVID hit.
Yeah.
And then of course we did we tried out the whole practice by Zoom thing, which was an absolute disaster.
Oh yeah,
Lasted about 10 minutes. Yeah.
That was terrible. Especially being a group of people who were new to each other. The chemistry wasn't really there, so it was just really, really tough. But then when we were able to get together and start practicing, we got right to it. I mean,
Yep.
I sang with a mask for 8 months in practice.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was,
wow.
which is just, I mean, you're a vocalist, so you can appreciate just how awesome it is to sing with your own hot air coming back into your throat. But
our first gig was in my backyard. We threw a party in my backyard during COVID, but socially distanced, the whole thing to try to make people comfortable, and everybody was just ecstatic to get out of the house. There was a good, I think 50 people there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
friends,
wow, very cool. So
Yeah.
right off the bat. Yeah, Drew, it's like, hey, why don't you try playing guitar with gloves on?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I guess I can try, but who would want to do that?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was terrible.
So I just have to apologize because I need glasses. So when I read these names off, if I get them wrong, you know why. Arsoliti, thank you for joining. Legs on My Eggs 365, thank you for joining.
Legs
And
on my-
David M. Lowe, 1971, thank you for joining. If you have any questions for the guys, you can drop them in the comments and we will read them off. So talk to me a little bit about that, because that's interesting. you formed the band right before a worldwide pandemic. What is the thing that's like, oh, I want to keep doing this anyway, and like the thing that is really inspiring you guys to move forward with it despite of that big setback right off the bat?
We have a really good chemistry, I think.
Oh, that was going to be on another on my list. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead, talk
it
about that a little
starts
bit.
with we're four guys that actually really like each other and enjoy each other's company, and there is a lot like Drew had mentioned. Justin and I and Bill have been playing before, so we already had um, we were familiar with following each other's lead, so to speak, and whatnot. So we had that foundation going into it. With the shift, it was a drastic departure from what we were doing. Um, what would you label what we were doing before, Justin?
Kind of like
In, indie
yeah,
rockish
yeah,
stuff?
indie rock originals that we weren't really. I mean, there was
Yeah,
talent there. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't what we wanted to do. We wanted to play music people wanted to
Yeah.
hear, dance,
Yep.
yeah,
energy, have a good time, that kind of thing.
Yep. So we going in a different direction, learning new material, and everything got shut down for, a couple months. We didn't practice, and but no, I mean, I think it was natural just to come back to it, just knowing, that this was a desire we all had, and we did a lot of independent study, so to speak, and came back, ready to put some stuff together when the,
Yeah.
restrictions lifted a little bit.
yeah. Very cool. And you three were, how did you find each other originally? Did you have like friends, or how did you connect in that way?
So Dave and I have worked together. Bill and we all work. The three of us, Dave, Bill, and I, all work for St. Luke's.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
when Drew's husband works for St. Luke's, so I've known Drew much longer than the couple years we've been playing together. I've known him for literally like 15 years socially. We've hung out many
Yeah.
times, and he was. I knew he was in bands when he was younger and stuff like that. And we would talk about it, and then we just decided to make it happen.
Awesome. Rob Menak, thank you for joining. And Dan MCD8, this is where my vision comes in. I'm sorry. Thank you for joining. If you have questions for the fellas, you can drop them in the comments. And then Drew, can you talk a little bit about coming into kind of you know, a group of guys who have already been working together, and how you navigate that a little bit?
So, I mean, I knew, like Justin had said, I knew Justin probably 13, 14, 15 years, before we got together in the band. I had seen their old band a few times. And like Justin said, there was definitely talent there. I knew what I was going to bring to the band, and the type of music that I like to play was going to be vastly different. So I think going into that first practice, I was actually a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive, because I'm like, well, I'm not really sure if this is kind of what they're looking for. But I think from that first practice, it was pretty clear, like, hey, we're all going to have a good time. It seemed like things worked. And even to this day, I mean, days we have practice or days we have gigs, best day of the week for me.
Yeah, for real. Still excited
It
about it.
really is.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
That first practice we had with Drew when he was first trying out for the band, Dave and I looked at us looked at each other while he was singing and just gave each other like, oh yeah, this is gonna work. We knew like the first song. Am I right, Dave?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
No, and I felt the exact same way. So it was, it was just good right from the start.
Yeah, chemistry is so important. Josh Burke, thank you for joining. It was great to see you on Sunday at the networking event at the Ice House. So we appreciate you jumping in. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about chemistry? Like what are you looking for from other musicians? Like I know I have my like little hit list that I try to keep in mind when we're auditioning someone, or I'm just jamming with a few people. But do you have things that you like to keep in mind as these new things kind of form?
I mean, I would say, everybody, Dave, Justin, Bill, I respect all of them musically. personality plays a really large part for me.
So bad.
Being in bands when I was younger, I mean, the drama and the tension and the back and forth, I didn't want any of that. But at the end of the day, I mean, Justin he's a phenomenal bass player. Dave's a great drummer. And,
Thank you.
If you came to one of our practices, it's a healthy amount of joking around and not taking ourselves very seriously.
Right.
I mean, the amount of times that we laugh during practice, just like having fun and just breaking each other's balls is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the point, right? Ultimately,
Yeah.
it's got to be fun.
And
Absolutely.
for me as a bass player in a band, I have to click with the drummer. I've played with drummers where they have a hard, they need to practice with a click track more often, I would say. Like it's just that if I have a drummer that I click with really well, and Dave and I think have a great relationship that way musically, for me it's another level, just on a musical level. But what Drew said is absolutely true. Like I for me it's like some guys have a poker club every week. This is like that, but so much better because we're creating stuff and having a great time.
Yeah, I'm trying to put a finger on it exactly, musically what it would take. For me, it's more of a feel, and agree with what you both said, but I've played with people of varying talent levels, and I don't consider myself a virtuoso drummer by any stretch, but it's just guys you just gel with, and the longer you play together, you almost know where the other one's going. It just becomes a feel. And I, echo what Justin said. Obviously, drum bass typically need to latch on to one another. And,
Oh yeah.
I feel like we quickly got to that point of just like, I can almost anticipate, the run he's going to do. He could, anticipate the fill I'm going to do. And it's just, it clicks,
Yeah, it's my favorite, honestly, musically.
Very cool. It's funny when we've held auditions or whatever, jam with people, and they ask questions like, well, what are you looking for? Like, almost, it's kind of weird to say, but some of the last things is like, can you play your instrument? It's more like, how well do I want to travel in a van with you for 4 hours straight?
Right.
Or, do we have a similar sense of humor or something like that? I think that's kind of a great way to go about it.
Yeah.
Let's see, Dave Long, I can understand that I'm a bass player, and I agree. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for dropping that in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
You're responding already. Thank you.
That humor that we have with each other comes through when we're playing, I think. People who see us play say to us, you guys look like you're having so much fun up there, because we are.
Isn't that the point? Yeah. And that's what's contagious, That's what gets people interested and keeps their interest too. Let's see. How long have you been? So just before the pandemic, which is what, a little over 2.5 years or so, or coming up on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your individual influences and then maybe like overall band influences?
So
It's different.
this is always an interesting topic because I think the four of us come from very different places musically. I don't know, Dave.
It's one of our running jokes.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Definitely the metalhead in the group.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
The drummer,
Dave definitely
Surprise.
is the metalhead of the group. I always joke with him that, like, hey man, like, why are you so angry? Like, why do we have to play such angry songs? Like, let's just have some fun. I mean,
I'm actually a really nice guy. But,
you are.
Yeah,
You are. I mean, I think me personally, I mean, if I had to take a look at influences, I'm somebody who really enjoys loud, entertaining live bands. So, somebody like Motley Crue, loud guitars and explosions and like, not just the sound, but also, visually they're very entertaining to see live. I like more like upbeat punk stuff, stuff that you can run around.
Yep.
I think that and that was sort of some of my apprehension about, you know, coming in when I first auditioned. When I saw them before with their other singer, I'm like, all right, it was a little bit more subdued, whatever. And I'm like, listen, guys, like, I'm going to run around. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run around. I'm going to talk to people in the crowd. I'm going to jump off stuff. Like, that's really what I like to do. So I think that's definitely where my influences are. I don't know, Justin, David, you want to talk about yours, but it's always interesting to see how different we are, but how much we can still gel.
Yeah. I mean, I learned to play drums, listen to Misfits records, you know, and
Cool. Yeah.
they were probably my earliest rock influence, believe it or not. I mean, it's kind of an odd band to say, but their songs were simple, they were fast, and I wanted to play them, so I just put the headphones on and played along. Um, you know, it introduced into, stuff like Metallica, Pantera. Vinnie Paul was like my
Oh
idol growing
man,
up.
yeah.
You
Such
know,
good
but
taste.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
These guys just don't get it. But also, my dad was heavy into like 70s progressive rock, so also was, big Yes fan
Yeah.
growing up, big
Yeah.
was and still am very into that stuff. So very varied influences. I love listening and delving into a lot of styles, even if I don't necessarily love the music. I just there's always something to be taken away from anything. But yeah, I mean, recent examples. I'm really into like the metal and deathcore scene right now, like Lorna Shore and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Those guys
Yeah,
just
yeah,
blow
yeah.
me away.
For sure.
I know we'll never even come close to covering that stuff, but their drummers, he just blows my mind. I've been listening to a lot of them lately.
Very cool. Deep Pockets, Jordan, thank you for joining. Speaking of drummers, Jordan's the drummer for Geode, and we had them on a live stream a couple weeks ago, and hopefully be playing a show with them soon. So what was it about drums specifically? Were you just like, I just want to like pound on something, be loud, or is it
Well,
like
my
the
dad
physical
was
aspect?
he was a guitar player. I decided to play the drums. And I was like 10 or
Gotcha.
11 when I
Uh-oh.
started.
Froze a little bit there. Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask one of my big questions here. What was there a thing like Dave was talking about? Was there a specific person or thing or song or anything that originally got you into music, which just kind of blew your mind? It was like, oh man, I gotta be involved in this and somehow.
For me, it was I used to listen to records in my room when I was a kid, and I was really into the Who when I was younger, and John Entwistle was like a god to me. And then I
Oh
heard
yeah.
that solo he takes on My Generation. I was like, what is that? Like, that was so different. And I said I want to do that. And my brother was a guitar player. He really encouraged me to play bass, saying you'll always be wanted. You'll always be able to get in a band. And I started playing live when I was 15 with a bunch of guys. We used to do parties in high school. We played
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of gigs before I even graduated high school. So I mean, I like a lot of funk and Motown stuff. I like a
Oh,
lot of
same here.
from a bass standpoint. I don't know how you cannot. Um, and my youngest daughter is in Berkeley for music for
Oh,
piano.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
really turning me on to jazz. But as a bass player, like there's like Jaco Pastor, Stanley Clarke, all these ridiculous bass players who do things I couldn't even imagine. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so when I want to like feel like I don't even know why I pick up the bass, I'll listen to one of those guys, because they're unbelievable. But yeah, so I'll listen to anything. Dave turned me on to Tool. Actually, I was into Tool, but he said you got to listen to this album in its entirety. And I had a long ride by myself in the car, and I listened to it, and I was like, oh my god, these guys are doing some cool things.
Yeah. Especially for bass players.
Repping the
Like they.
poster in the back.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Yeah. Have you seen them live recently at all? Or
yeah,
period?
I caught them twice on their last tour. I saw them about 4 times total. I'm gonna go see them at the PPL Center,
Oh, nice.
in November. I'm a big fan.
Awesome.
Yeah, me too. I actually started on bass as well, and both Tool and like Motown, funk, James Brown were big
Yeah.
influences. I started fingerstyle, then went to pick. Like if I play now, more than likely, I mean, style dependent. but I do play a lot more pick than fingerstyle anymore. But yeah,
Cool.
love bass. Yeah, how about you, Drew?
I'm sorry.
Um, was there anything that got you into music originally?
Oh, Def Leppard Hysteria.
Dude,
First cassette,
are you serious?
first
That's the same for me.
first cassette I ever
Same.
bought. I bought it at Kmart on Tillman Street. And I just listened to it, and I'm like, my God, this is absolutely amazing.
So,
What a great album.
That's funny.
I mean, from there, you know, Guns N' Roses. You know, my uncle actually. I grew up. You know, you guys were talking about Motown. I mean, I grew up listening to oldies. That's all my dad listened to. So,
mhm.
my uncle was in a band with Bobby Vinton. He kicked Bobby Vinton out of the band because he said Bobby Vinton has no talent. I think Bobby Vinton still plays in Atlantic City to this day. But no, I mean, Def Leppard Hysteria, absolutely. But I mean, the Temptations, Frankie Valli, like some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And just being able to, you know, to see what they did on stage and how great their harmonies were. I don't know. As soon as I heard some of that stuff, I'm like, yeah, I would really like to do that one day.
So,
Absolutely.
say I was at my grandma. I can still remember it. I was at my grandma's house, and she had, well, I don't know if she had it on, but she had MTV was on, and Pour Some Sugar on Me came on, and I just like whipped my head around, like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Well, and it's so.
And then
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, and then my aunt bought me the cassette tape like for my birthday that year. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I love about that album is like there's so many gang vocals on that album.
Oh
And
yeah.
one of the first things that I suggested when I started playing with these guys was like, hey, let's do some harmonies. Let's all sing at the same time. Like, let's make this bigger. And really, it just goes back to, you know, the stuff that I used to listen to when I was younger. And I don't know, just all of those voices all at once made it so much bigger and so much better.
No auto tune back then either. You have to
Right.
nail it. Yep,
Yeah.
and do it
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So it makes it all that much more impressive. Scottish Lass 81, thank you for joining. It's So Amy, thank you for joining and thank you for following. We will follow you back. If you have questions for the guys, you can drop them in the comments below. I'm excited about that because that's the exact same story as me. Let's see. Drew, you were talking about running around on stage and the visuals of Motley Crue and stuff like that. Was that something you had to like build up to, or was that like right off the bat you're like, nah, this is the way to do it? And
No, I can I can remember the first show that I ever played live. My parents were there, and my mom was like, at some point you're going to have to stay in front of the microphone so they can hear what you're singing. I don't know. It's no, that came absolutely natural to me. I get up there and I want to run around. I want to have a good time. I want to interact with as many people as I possibly can. I want to hear people's stories. I want to see their reaction to the music. So, you know, engaging the audience, engaging people who are there and who have actually stuck around and stayed to hear us is incredibly important to me. So that's kind of my way of giving back and saying, like, thank you for being here. I'm going to do my best to make this as exciting as possible for you.
that's
But
awesome.
yeah.
Do you have any like tips or tricks for cats like me who need to work at it really hard?
I'll tell you, you know, what set Drew loose was the wireless setup for his guitar.
Oh,
Now
guys,
out there.
Forget
you're
it.
hitting all my buttons tonight because
It's
I'm
over.
looking for a wireless system for the same reason. Like I just feel tied down.
Yeah, you are.
It's the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Which
is the wireless
one did you
for
go
the
with?
guitar. Oh my, Justin, what is that one? We have the same one.
X7. I forget. I don't even know what it's called. Got it on Sweetwater. I can't even Google it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I might have hit you up for that one later because that's exactly where I'm looking for mine too. So very cool. And I heard we have a nice big stage for Carnival of Chaos too. From what I'm hearing, it's like 23 feet. Dave was saying. So
Nice.
be able to work that whole thing. Yeah. How about like visually? How much? Or actually, one other quick one for the other guys too. Has stage fright ever been a thing for you that you've had to work through?
Yeah, definitely.
Same here.
I mean, for me, like if I'm not feeling it, or if I feel like people aren't into it, I start getting really self-conscious. I tend to like look over people's heads.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You know, just and this is, it hasn't happened in a long time, but when I used to play, and I used to just get that anxiety, and it was really more like, oh, they're not into it. We've been playing long enough now that if we make a mistake, we cover pretty quickly. Everybody makes a mistake when they play live. Like literally, there's something happens every time we play, but we recover so quickly now. I'm not even worried about it. And we end up laughing about it while we're playing. Mm-hmm. We played last night with one of our covers, Basket Case. Like I totally missed the part, and I was like, I turned to Dave and said, "It's like the first time I ever played that song. I had no idea what happened." You know?
It's not the big like bleed bass. Oh, was it?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and I was like, it's like I've never played this song before. I don't know what happened. I think my mind was somewhere else. I wasn't thinking about anyway. You
It's
know,
good.
so
It's not a very memorable part, Justin. At least you know,
no one will miss it.
But no, you're right. That is actually one of the cool things. And you talk about personality and like picking people for bands.
Yeah.
We can totally, all of us, point out when somebody makes a mistake, and we just laugh it off, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, if Dave, I mean, at practice, if he misses something, I'll turn around. I'll be like, hey, everybody heard that. It's fine. There's been gigs where Justin will look over at me and he'll say like, hey, any chance you want to start singing anytime soon, because you're missing your spot? And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, whatever. But
it'll be more colorful than that, though. We're being polite.
Yes.
Well,
using the PG version, but yeah.
I appreciate it, but you can say whatever you want to hear.
I think
don't tell us.
Okay, so you're gonna start singing.
Yes.
All right. How about you were talking about doing harmonies, and y'all are playing instruments and singing simultaneously. How about some tips for that? Like, are you just focusing on the vocals and then your playing comes naturally, or vice versa? How does that work?
I would say for me, it took years. You know, the only tip I could give out is to practice the song that your instrument just becomes secondary and you focus on the vocals. I have this, even now, I could have done a song 100 times that I play, you know, sing backups in, and my you know, my kick drum starts following the vocal rhythm or something like that, and I just gotta, you know, quickly correct. But you know, the key for me has always been just get the drum parts down so you don't even have to think about it, and just it's like autopilot and just focus on singing.
Same, totally the same. And I'll do the same thing where my rhythm will change if I don't know the song that well. What I'm playing on bass will change to match the vocals, and then it kind of screws me up. But if I know the song and I could just play the song without thinking about it, and then I'm singing, it's almost like your hands are listening to the record and you're singing along, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do. And I think bass and drums are the harder instruments for me anyway. I've tried to do them both while singing, and it's just like, whew, there's so much rhythm involved where I feel like I could just keep my right hand going when I'm with guitar and then use my left to mute wherever.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and I think in terms of harmonies, you know, the longer that we've played together, I think the easier it's gotten to kind of match our voices. I mean, I think initially it was just Dave and I kind of doing harmonies. Dave has a great voice. And it's just, it works because it's higher than mine. So he meshed really, really well. I would say about maybe like a year ago, Justin really started kind of putting some background vocals, and that just adds another layer. But
yeah, so much.
I think it's, you know, now it doesn't take too long if we're going to do some harmonies to kind of figure out how that's going to work. I think when we first started, it would take a lot longer. But no, I mean, unless you guys disagree, I mean, I think harmonies come together pretty quickly.
I agree.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Dave does the heavy lifting, man. Dave does really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I'm taking no credit. I'm taking no credit for it, Dave. This is all on you. I'm just.
I mean, I've said before. There's a couple of covers we do that it's the vocals that make the vocals that make the song, because these guys harmonize really, really well.
Yeah. It just takes it to a whole nother level for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dave from Chaos Guitars has joined.
Nice.
What's up, man? He says, "Sorry, I'm late." Well, too bad. Work on it for
You
next
missed something
time.
amazing.
Quit cheating at cornhole too, man.
How do you cheat at cornhole?
I think what he does is he waxes the board so like all the
Ah,
bags just slide right
Oh,
off.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah. Dave says stupid work. Well, we appreciate you joining when you can, Dave. Thank you very much. You missed all your Carnival Chaos stuff. We already hit on that, but I'm sure we'll bring it back around. Don't worry. Yeah, it's true. I'm still bitter. Dave says Mike's still bitter about the cornhole challenge. I am. It's true. I want my revenge August 12th at Carnival of Chaos. So you guys also you like do a mix of covers and originals. Can you maybe? I want to talk about the songwriting process, but then also song selection process. So yeah, what goes into that? Does everyone kind of bring their favorites in and then decide together? Let's just start with song selection for the covers. Like, how do you decide on that kind of stuff and get the set list together?
Well, I think it's a healthy mix. If you take a look at our set list, it's a healthy mix of our four very different kind of musical tastes coming together. So, things that are going to be on there, some of the songs that Bill really likes. So you're going to have some of like the 70s punk. Dave, I think some of the harder stuff that we have. I mean, if you see Stacy's Mom on our set list, that's totally me.
Okay.
If you see anything by the Cars, that's definitely me.
Okay, cool.
But no, I mean, it's a pretty simple process. I mean, we have, a group text and we'll just toss songs out and be like, hey, I think we could do a really good version of this song. Let's give it a shot. 9 times out of 10, that's kind of how it works. And, some of them we try and it's like, okay, whatever, we'll move on. And then there's others where it's like, yeah, you know what, we can actually do something really cool with this. We do a cover of Taylor Swift's Trouble, and we kind of make it like really rock. And that's one of my favorites. But yeah, I mean, it's really just kind of about like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And if we all agree, then we all give it a shot.
We also at this age, we're not 15 and have nothing to do all day, so we do a good job of knowing the songs before we get together. Everybody does work because you can't take. I mean, we'll put a song together in like an hour, and some of those songs are harder than others, and you can't do that if you come and you haven't worked on the song. It's not the place to learn the song. I'm sure you know that by now, but so we're pretty good at that.
Yeah,
it does make a big difference for sure.
Yeah.
Still waiting for us to do some Judas Priest, though. I mean,
all right. Yeah.
What was that? My New Year's resolution for 2021? Yes. I'm like, yeah, we're totally going to do that.
Yeah, we never did. So it comes up all the time.
Yeah.
So like even some of the songs where if Dave suggested it or if Justin or myself, and it just didn't work out, just to be funny, we'll put that on the set list. So like, on a set list, we'll randomly put like, oh yeah, Living After Midnight is going to be in the second set. And that's just kind of like us, joking with each other.
Yeah. Got to do maybe Painkiller, see who can do that high. That's pretty up there, man. I don't know.
That's up there.
You could do it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Dave from Chaos Guitar says, yes, Priest. Yeah. I don't know. What would the Priest song be? I like Electric Eye. I think that would be a kind of an interesting one to throw out there that you don't hear all the time. I mean, not as much as the other ones, but
yeah,
I guess you kind of have to make sure that, I mean, this is a good question. How often, like when you're pulling covers, because we recently did our first cover at one of our shows maybe 2 months ago. It was Eye of the Tiger. And we were just trying to figure out what would a fun song be that other people from other bands can jump up on stage with us, kind of know right off the bat and just sing along. How much of that, obviously the audience, it's great when the audience knows it already and can, sing it right back to you. Like how much of that goes into the thought process of song selection for you guys?
Oh,
yeah.
It weighs pretty heavily. We like to do there's a couple we sprinkle in that are kind of self-indulgent, don't care if anyone knows, and we just want to do them. But largely, we get excitement over the crowd getting excited and knowing and singing along. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
we try and stick to the more well-known, stuff generally for that reason.
Are you
No,
guys?
no, I
Yeah, go
was just
ahead.
say absolutely. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, um, with the music scene, we've played a lot of bars where there's been, I mean, primarily the audience is college kids.
Hmm.
So in an age of, you know, digital media and Spotify and all that, when you're playing something that somebody knows and somebody can sing along to, I mean, there's a market out there for really good live music. So when it comes to picking songs that we're going to do, anything that's going to be able to engage the audience and get them to kind of participate with us and have it be a joint experience is something. I mean, that's something that we definitely take into consideration. There's songs that I would love to play, but I feel like not enough people would know it, and it would be it just wouldn't be something that would be engaging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. How much are you tailoring sets for, like, I don't know, you're going to play a certain venue that you know is going to be this type of crowd. Are you tailoring your set to that? Like, how far do you take that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do that pretty often. I mean, last night was a good example. We played National Night Out for Upper Saucon, so
Cool.
that's kind of a community event. A lot of kids. We're not going to play Sex on Fire. We're not going to play. We're not going to play Fuck It by Buck Cherry. Like,
Right.
but that. I think as we've been playing together, it's gotten a lot easier to do that because now we have such an extensive library of songs that we can kind of pick from. That it maybe a year or two ago it was a lot harder because we had maybe 15 or 20 songs, but now I mean we probably have, I don't
Close
know,
to 50. Close to 50.
yeah, close to 50.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to kind of tailor our set lists to the audience that we're playing for.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if we play those bars, those college kids, Sex on Fire, we're definitely doing that one. We might do it twice. They love that song.
Yeah. Do you do that? Would you play a song twice?
Well, he's bringing up we played that song twice because some college girl asked our guitar player Bill, "Can you play it again?" He's like, "We just played it," and she flashed him. So he turned around and said, "Hey guys, we got to play that again."
Happy
You
to
guys are hitting
oblige.
on all my questions before I get there, but that's a
That,
great story.
that's what it takes.
Yeah. So we're gonna put Sex on Fire in
Yeah.
our set. Moving forward, thank you guys.
It
It
works.
works.
No, I have no problem, like, either playing a song twice or stretching a set with like with that kind of stuff. I know I will get shit for saying that or whatever, but yeah, man, I have no problem with that. It's, yeah, you're there to entertain, so
Yeah.
whatever
Yep.
whatever they're asking for, give
People
it to
dig
them.
it. I mean, there's no reason not to, really.
Right.
I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
frowned upon, but if they're calling for it,
I suppose. People get all bent out of shape. We always ask this question too, like, are you allowed to wear your own band shirt to your gig or another? Oh, that's where you draw the line?
I don't know. That's
I
that's
have,
pushing it for me. I don't even wear the
We
band
discuss
shirt.
this all the time.
Yeah, the band I'm going to see in concert, I
Oh,
don't even wear their shirt,
you don't even do that?
No.
Wow, hardcore. All right.
Wow.
Sorry.
No, I used to be like that, and now I'm on the other side. Like, I'm trying to wear our shirt as much as possible. Whenever the guys stop me from being like, "Yo, you can't go on stage in your own shirt," and I'm like, "Well, we're so small; it doesn't really matter. I don't think." But I've heard people also say they won't wear the band they're going to see shirt. Interesting. What about you other guys? What do you think?
the only reason I haven't worn one of our shirts to our gigs is that I know the other guys would make incessant fun of me, and they have enough ammunition already. I will wear this shirt live. I've done that more than once.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Shout out to
but
Chaos Guitars
yeah,
on there.
yeah.
Speak of the devil, Dave says, if you don't promote yourself, dot, 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 finish it, Mike, no one else will.
Yeah.
So, yes,
Yep.
he's correct.
It's true.
Yes, I have no shame in my t-shirt game, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would
All right.
wear it.
Yeah,
Good point.
cool.
Definitely.
Justice MD, thank you for joining. I'm sorry if I butcher your names because I can't see so good anymore. But thank you for joining. And if you have questions for the guys, you can drop them in. We got about a couple minutes left. You also have some originals that you play. Dave says, thank you for wearing my stuff, guys. Yeah, that's always cool to see. Randomly, this is a kind of a fun story. I was at Allentown Brews and Blues recently for the first time ever, and ran into one of our friends from another band, and he was rocking our shirt, and so was I. So I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. So we had to take a picture together, and yeah, it's just super cool
Awesome.
when you see your friends like repping your stuff. So good work there. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about like originals too. How did those come about? Is there someone who's like kind of the songwriter, or does everyone like, is it like, here, check out this bass line, let's work on something together? Is it all over the place?
Yeah, I mean, I think primarily Bill is the one who comes up with just, the foundation of the song. He writes a lot of the lyrics, and
okay.
he kind of brings it to us. Like, I don't know if it was Justin or Dave was mentioning earlier, we do a lot of work to kind of prepare prior to practice. I mean, we all have full-time jobs, so, it would be fantastic if we had like 7 or 8 hours a day to, practice this, practice that. We just don't. So,
yeah, right.
Writing the original songs is actually something that I really enjoy, and I think it's something where you kind of see our personalities come out. So, Bill will bring the song, and with a couple of the new ones that we're working on, it just takes a little bit longer to get them kind of where we want them to be, because it's like, oh, what if we do this? What if we do this? What if we do that? Obviously, with a cover, you have everything there. All you're doing is kind of changing some little things, or adding this or adding that, and you can work on it individually. But with the originals, it really is a collaborative process where if everybody isn't in the room together, it just doesn't work. So, with the last couple that we've done, I think we've made some adjustments that have kind of personalized it a little bit depending on our style. But I mean, working on those is great, and it's a fantastic creative outlet. And stuff like you were mentioning, like stuff just kind of comes from that. So it's like, oh, well, what if I do this bass line? What if I do this bridge? What if I do this drum fill? What if I add this harmony right here? What if we slow it down a little bit here? So the process itself is fantastic, because it's just a creative burst.
Yeah, it's such a challenge to, like, you want to do something creatively as a group. Yeah, communication becomes like a hugely important thing. Sometimes it falls into place, and sometimes it takes a lot of work. There's just no right or wrong way, or easy way. Well, sometimes it can be easy, I guess, but yeah, it's always interesting to say the least. Pandemic, I can't read your numbers. 030 maybe? Love that name. Thank you for joining.
030.
All right, cool. Well, how do you feel about, Drew, how do you feel about Bill writing lyrics for you? That's interesting. I've had that a couple of times. Like, you're the one who's got to like sell them, and like embrace them and sing them.
So there have definitely been times where I've said to Bill, like, what exactly is it that you're trying to say here? And really, it's not like from a judgment standpoint. It's really, hey man, like, I want to make sure that I'm conveying the message correctly. One of the standing jokes is that Bill loves words. So we've recorded, I want to say 4 songs in the studio. And even the engineer is like, hey, maybe we'll take a little bit of a break in between like the verse and the pre-chorus and the chorus, because I'm like totally out of breath. And I'm like, Bill, you try and fit as many words as you possibly can. But no, I mean, for me, it's, taking a look at his lyrics, and once I kind of understand the meaning behind them, it's like, okay, cool. I got it. I can do that. I can convey the message that you want to convey. So for me, it's no issue at all.
Very cool. Are you tweaking them at all? Like,
yeah.
To your point, it's like,
so I can breathe.
Yeah. You got to give me some kind of room here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think like with one of the newer ones that we're working on, there was a verse that I kind of adjusted to change into a bridge, which, you know, when we all get together and we work on stuff, there's really never any significant pushback.
Yeah.
You know, the four of us are always very open to exploring what somebody had said or a suggestion. And you know, there's things that someone will suggest that works, and sometimes it doesn't, and we just go back to what we were doing before.
Drew's also really respectful with Bill when he says like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this with the song. What do you think?" Because you know he's being respectful that Bill wrote the song and he might have a vision there, and it's a conversation. It's not a you know this doesn't work. I want to do this kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
a lot of polite. And for as much as we make fun of each other and laugh, there's a lot of politeness in the band.
It's important, man. How you give and receive feedback is
Yeah,
definitely an
yeah,
important
yeah,
skill for sure. Some
Yeah.
people have struggle with that. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
Trent Morris 88, thank you for joining. So you're talking about recording a demo. Where are you recording that? Like in a studio, in like a home, like we're basically a home studio guys. Our drummer is a sound engineer, and we're planning on going to his studio at some point. But really, we're just cranking them out internally. How does that work for you guys?
so we're recording in a studio. It's off Broad Street in Bethlehem. It's not a home studio, it's a professional studio. um, and the experience has been fantastic, I will say. And you being a vocalist, you might be able to understand this. You know, I don't get nervous or apprehensive about playing in front of people. I'll tell you something, when they isolate your vocals in that studio and all you're doing is hearing yourself, I just want to run out the door.
Terrifying.
um, but yeah, I mean, it's great to hear the finished product. I think for me personally, it's an interesting experience because I love playing live so much
Mhm.
that the repetitive nature of just being in the studio, okay, sing this again, sing this a little bit differently, okay, double this up, is something that's new to me and something that's a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I think the stuff that we've been able to record so far has sounded really great.
Yeah. I like being in the studio because I think it gives us a chance to be. It's really, you know, when we're playing live, it's more about what's going on with the audience and making the audience happy. When you're in the studio and recording, it's like you're focusing on music. You're with you're with other musicians, that sound engineer, and you know, it's like a selfish experience, and it's like okay to be that way at that moment because you're trying to like be really creative and lay something down that you're going to be proud of.
Yeah.
So, and it's a different take on things for me. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Very well put.
Yeah.
Um, how far, like, Dave, are you like, do you like a click? Do you just want to play it with the guys? I always have a debate about this too, because I like to just get in there and play the song and let the drummer kind of find his pocket and then play back.
Yeah.
But our drummer's like, no, I really want to click. So yeah,
Yeah.
it seems to be like one side or the other.
So I've changed over time. It used to be I like to play just live in the studio, basically, play with the guys. And I
Hmm.
know, when I've recorded in the past, that's kind of how we did it. But as time goes on, we, I know I've done a couple takes, historically, and with the prior band we were in, that it was just for some reason impossible, to stay on time without the click. So I
Hmm.
kind of made the transition. Now I can't be in the studio without it. I need it. So
Yeah, yeah.
um, it's funny how things change over time. But yeah, I live and die by it, especially with what we're recording now.
All right, very
Yeah.
cool. How do you go? Are you like setting it? Are you trying just figuring out BPMs and setting it all the way through? Do each section kind of change here and there? How does that
Just
work?
steady, straight through.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and then you're just playing right to it.
and,
Yeah.
and our engineer, pipes in a backing track a little bit,
Yeah.
with what's been laid
Yeah. Yeah.
down
Yeah.
already, and that's enough,
Yep.
for me. It makes it a lot easier.
For sure. There's so many benefits to it too.
Yes.
Um, all right. Well, that takes us to about a full hour. I appreciate you guys giving us the time here. you want to just run through anything you want to plug, all your shows coming up, and of course we'll end with the COC3 plug.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, catch us August 12th, Carnival of Chaos. We're totally looking forward to it. I mean, I think the collaboration with all the bands, I mean, everybody supporting one another. It's been fantastic, and obviously Dave from Chaos Guitars has been promoting the living hell out of it, and he's such a great support of local music that we're just really happy to be a part of it. So obviously that's August 12th, and then like I said, check out our Instagram page. We have shows coming up at Hijinks Brewery, Coca-Cola Park, the Promenade, Americas Hotel, St. Luke's Night of Heroes, Tractortown Fire Company. Did I miss any, Justin?
Not that I know of.
I don't think so.
Stacked. I got to talk to you guys next time about booking too, because you seem to have that down pat.
You got to talk to Bill.
We're still trying to crack.
Bill has that down pat.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It always helps to have somebody who's motivated. It's the hard thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Bill plays two roles. You know, lead guitar player and manager.
Okay.
He's phenomenal at booking gigs.
That's awesome.
Really
awesome.
You got eye candy, man.
Well, of course, everybody knows
songwriter.
Come on,
lyrics.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Drew, Dave, and Justin of Supersonic Godfathers. We will see you August 12th, if not before that. We really appreciate you coming on here and spending an hour with us. And yeah, have a great night, and we will see you soon.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.